Big up anyone that saw that skirmish last show, but we're here on Cast to talk about Man United things once again. Because guess what? I'm ready for another skirmish with you lot in the chat. How about that? Yeah. Because anyone that wants to try send for me, apparently, anytime I got a rebuttal, it's an excuse going backwards. Like, it's not valid. Apparently, according to Mons, I can't use injuries for why Spurs are a lot weaker than they need to be. And then that's also an excuse. Do you know how mad that is? It's absolutely insane. That's like me saying to him, like, oh, you didn't have Mo Salah in the final and, Ramos should have get sent off, but we didn't lose that because he got injured. So that's an excuse, right? Calm. Anyways, smash the damn like button. We got huge boosts going on at Manchester United. Secret weapons in the back of the crew. We've got Joshua Zirkzee back. We got well, not Delap though, but we got Yoro and Dalot. Do you get what I mean? We've got options. No one wants to hear the options. No one wants to hear it. Is he match fit? No, it's a bit of a sticky one, but he's still an option. Something that we have and that Tottenham do not have. I haven't done no previews whatsoever. I might do one a little bit later. I'm not entirely sure. I'll think about it. Maybe tomorrow. But because I've done this is like my 7th stream talking about Tottenham and Spurs, and I've still got another one to go later. It's getting kind of boring. So on that notice, I'm just happy to be happy that I've got some players back. Do you know what I mean? How about you lot? How about us? Come on, man. It's not just that as well. We got transfer news that went on yesterday and stuff that came out today. Again, it's funny old game. Anytime I mention a very good player that is linked to Manchester United, right, it gets dismissed. But all of a sudden, Rivals, aka Hooks, is telling Jay, yeah, make sure you beat these lot tomorrow. Crazy that we live in a world, yeah, where Arsenal fans are wanting Tottenham to win. Imagine relying on Spurs. Anyways, I'm getting Cunha. You're getting Cunha. I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm getting someone that's absolutely amazing, and I don't have to witness Garnacho next year. Yeah, and then there's obviously Liam Delap movement as well. And it's funny because it's like both strikers that we're linked with at the moment is waiting for some sort of Champions League football or maybe to see where the season might put them. It's kind of a funny old game, isn't it? It goes against everything Amram's kind of said, but I think it still matters as a bargaining chip. Oh, we got Champions League football. You get to experience that. You can move on. And then, we're ready to go. But who says that everything is going to mesh together and you're going to go far in the Champions League when you might finish 6th next season and not get it at all? So again, it's kind of mad, isn't it? By the way, don't respect anyone with Hook in their name. Respectfully, let's respect Hooks, innit? Hooks is a great guy, innit? He makes great content as well, and he deserves hundreds and thousands of more subscribers. So anyone that's here, smash the likes. Don't ignore. Big up if you come over from Never a Foul. Big up if you just come in just to hear the United stuff. But I'm here to talk to you lot. I like doing these shows by myself because then no one can talk rubbish to me back. Do you get what I mean? I'm just having an argument with myself. I'm convincing myself on stream, live. Act, you're not finishing 6th. I know, because Act, when I end up getting Cherki, yeah, and also having Cunha, and then having the option of Delap Gyokeres after I win, and go into the Champions League, it's going to be a funny old game, isn't it? It's going to be a funny old game. But it's about, how many hours are we away? We're about 24, 26. We're about 26 and a half hours away from kickoff. I'm pretty sure the nerves are building up for this. But so let's talk anyways from what's happened a lot earlier. You might have seen images of Zirkzee, Yoro, and Dalot all training. Yoro's been in training anyways, so that's not really a matter. He's only had a week out, so I don't think fitness or match sharpness is literally a thing for him. Dalot and Zirkzee's another. I feel like it's another situation to kind of assess. You wouldn't start them, wouldn't you? Like Zirkzee, I'm not too sure if he needs a rhythm of games, but especially if it gets later in the game and you need a little bit more control, you need someone that's going to come on and be a presence. Zirkzee's going to be a weapon that might need to be utilized, especially as a false 9. It'll be interesting to see who actually takes the first striker spot. I don't know if it's going to be Mainu, but I feel like we all know if Hojlund starts up front, it's going to be, we're pretty much playing on the back foot until about the 60th minute, until he probably comes off, I don't reckon Dalot starts, but the one thing I have to admire about Dalot is You know, he was meant to be out for the rest of the season. And you know what you got to admire about a lot of these other players that have rushed to get back fit as well? His mentality as at the same time. You know, we've seen ex-players over the years talking about them playing through injury, you know, rushing back to get back on the pitch through even if they have an injury, right? And a lot of the time we talk about Man United in a breath where, you know, where we always question, do they have the mentality even to be a Manchester United player, let alone wear the shirt, right? But at the moment, for at least those three and maybe even others, and bless Delap because he's tried, and I like Delap quite a lot. I like everything that he brings to the squad. I think he's a leader as well, and I think he's a good commander. Is he the best one? Some of you may disagree, but the fact that they're willing to play through injury, do whatever they need to make sure they get into this final, onto the selection of obviously the squad, you've got to admire that. And one thing I like about Dalot, anyways, and I'm not his fan. You lot know that I don't like him, right? And get your comments in as well. One thing I don't like about Dalot is when his confidence is gone, it's gone. But he doesn't need a run of games to get better like Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw needs like 5, 6, 7 games to kind of get going again before he breaks down. With Dalot, it's a little bit similar to Ahmad. Both very athletic players. You know, they are good players, to be fair. But they don't need like 3, 4 games to get going. Like match fitness is pretty much there for them, you know, because they're naturally athletic. And that's what United need more of course. And that's why we're looking at players such as Liam Delap. Even when he's had injuries, he comes back very fast. And obviously Gyokeres is just a beast, you know. So for me anyways, I feel like Dalot could literally come into the side and pretty much pick up where he left off. And that's my view. But do I want him to start? I don't think it'd be a good idea. I feel like with a lot of the team that's played in Europa right now, we're going to see that as the starting 11. I'm not too sure, but one player I definitely need to see because of his whole, even just his one-to-one defending it's been superior to most. Is obviously Leny Yoro. It's nice to see that it wasn't a big injury. I don't know if it's going to still be an issue. I don't think it is an issue, right? But we need that man on the pitch because we can't be seeing a final where we witness Maguire and Lindelof. You know, I'm not prepared to see that. And it makes me wonder who's going to go right wing back as well. Because you could literally have Leny Yoro and Mazraoui as your wide centre-backs instead of towards Maguire. But I feel like the manager's got some reservations about Luke Shaw. Like Luke Shaw's last game wasn't bad at all, actually. You know, I didn't actually mind him there. It took a while anyways for him to get going. It's just the reliance of him is not great, but you don't have many great options. I feel like at least with Mazraoui on the right-hand side, he adds some sort of defensive balance. But I feel like it's a little bit too reliant on the left-hand side, aka Dorgu, to produce something down the side of obviously where I feel like Tottenham are going to be at their weakest. With obviously Pedro Porro there, he might even go into the midfield to be fair, but because he might vacate that space, I feel like Dorgu might have a better game than what we might think. He might be a lot more pivotal, right? So again, it's a bit of a confusing one. I don't know what the manager's going to go with, but one thing I'm definitely certain of, obviously having options back, is that Hojlund can't see this pitch. He can't see this pitch. I can't stand this man anytime I see him. It's like how many times you have to put him on the pitch to realize that he doesn't offer much. And I can see why the manager would want him there because he thinks obviously outlet, pace, a bit of strength and whatnot. But it's everything that happens within play that he's so flipping detrimental to why we keep giving up the ball and getting turnovers. Did you know Tottenham have more turnovers in the league than Manchester United? You know? I'm not going to lie. I can see in a world where Agate and Casemiro starts. But the only way I want to see Agate and Casemiro start if Bruno is in that false 9 and Amad and Mount's literally right there behind him. Then you got a bit more of a potent back 3 because, you know, Bruno Fernandes is far up. He's got a better shot than pretty much all the players that we have. Right. And at least with a false 9, he can help out more with the midfield and maybe disjoint it a little bit. And he's got runners in, obviously, Mount and Amad. I don't see Amad playing right wing back tomorrow because we need someone that's going to get towards that goal and cause issues, big issues. And I feel like he might be quite the guy. He's come out with recent comments saying, I believe he can be the best in the world. I'm not going to lie. It would be a bit difficult to become the best in the world, but he said one of the best in the world. And Amad, for me, and I don't know about you guys, but he has that potential. He definitely has that potential. right? But he's not going to get there if he's playing wing back. I promise you that for the next season. So that kind of makes me wonder, like, where does he feel like his future lies? I don't think he cares as much. Whether he's wing back or or in the right 10, I think you can only kind of get one of those, the accomplishments that's recognized by the world if you're playing in a much more further position further up. Amram should use Maguire up top. Look, the gimmick's nice of Maguire up top, but you need to use that probably more for moments, because like moments of playing up top is different to having 90 minutes running around trying to press the strikers. I've never seen Harry Maguire hold up the ball and pop off to another man. Do you get it? I know he's got decent feet sometimes, but I personally wouldn't. I don't know what the lineup's going to be. Honestly, I'm still juggling in my mind, but I'm quite certain that Mount is going to play after last game. I'm pretty sure. And what we need to do, and this is just a tactical view, right? Again, we need to press their midfield. You know, I've kind of noticed in games where, I think you lot have seen it as well. Whenever we press the opposition, and we saw it against Brentford as well, and we only saw it for minimal amounts. When we pressed onto the midfield, right, we cause more mistakes because their centre backs, Van der Ven and Romero, they're good on the ball, but they're not super progressive, right? They're a lot more better as ball carriers or just keeping things ticking, right? But if we sit on their midfield, they have to pop it out wide, meaning we got someone else for a press, aka Dorgu or your wing backs in whether it's Ahmad or Mazraoui, causing more mistakes and turnovers. The issue is with my thing with Amarim, right? He likes pushing the line to push their centre backs. I don't like when we do that, because then the midfield is literally naked and we get run through so easily. And it's important to keep shape, but it's important that we press Tottenham into oblivion, because they can be pressed, by the way. As I said, when it comes to turnovers in the league, maybe because they play a higher line and everything, but they're always on the back foot. They have like the third most record of turnovers in the whole league. I think we're like 7th or 8th. And they can see quite a lot of transitions as well. So, and I feel like that sounds like more United's game. And again, you're probably going to think, okay, but they got Solanke, Brennan Johnson, and probably Son. That's probably going to be their lineup, maybe even Odegaard, right? Son might even play in a 10. But I don't see how they got any progression in their midfield. Every time we play against Maddison, he's always putting in someone like Brennan Johnson, who causes us so many issues, right? I can't really see that with Bentancur, and I can't really see that with Bissoumas or anything like that. They're nice. They've got nice feet. But when it comes to running backwards, them lot are liabilities. And when also, Bentancur can't last 90 minutes. So they're going to have to make some changes. And there's rumours still that, Papa Sarr's not going to be able to play. So that's even less legs than what they've already got. That's why we've seen Pedro Porro being, like tipped to maybe play centre mid in that central role. Jed Spence on the right, maybe Ben Davies on the left. I'm not too sure where Doggy is. Is he still injured? I have no idea. But yeah, having these options is why we have a key advantage. But apparently I'm not allowed to use that, as a defensive mechanism to why I feel I can attack Spurs. So that's a bit mad. Would you prefer a defensive lineup? Hell no. Go cutthroat. They're going to play high line. Why should we play defensive? That kind of plays into their hands a little bit. Agate and Bruno, but I want to play Casman. I can't lie. No, we have to play Casemiro. We have to play Casemiro. He's too vital, even in their attack. Just headers alone. When it comes to conceding headers, we've done a lot better, to be fair, considering Tottenham haven't. They're always suspect on their corners. Casemiro and Maguire would be, this is what I would have liked. De Ligt. I think De Ligt's actually better than Maguire in the air. But, he's not there. So, but I feel like we've got aerial dominance at the least. We've seen Yoro score from a corner as well. The key is to keep the ball, just keep possession, and chances will come. That's all. Make it boring. A little bit like the Chelsea game. I wasn't actually mad. Yeah, exactly. He needs to play. I wasn't actually mad at the performance against Chelsea. The difference with Chelsea is that they got elite players in and around in their midfield, like whether they got Enzo Fernandez. He's not elite, but he's a very good midfielder, very competent at that, especially this season. Reece James is there as well. He's quality. It goes to show Gyokeres quality. Obviously, they got Pedro Porro, who's dangerous, but Caicedo, Lavia, Cole Palmer, that's a big difference to playing against someone that might Bissouma, Bentancur, and whoever else they might deploy, maybe Bergvall. That's a huge difference. At least we can, in my mind, I feel like we can keep up with that. Like Chelsea found it hard to break us down. Anything through the middle, just go out wide. The difference is, though, and I have to recognize that they do have a recognized striker in Solanke. Solanke's had a bit of fun with us recently. I'm not too sure what's with Bergvall, but I'm pretty sure he's going to make it. I would like to think that he's going to make it, because I think the coach is going to force him. Simple as that. Basuma on his day, yeah, I agree. Basuma on his day is difficult to deal with, but I can say the same thing with us and a couple of our midfielders. You know, it's like me saying Bruno in his day is running the game. Casemiro in his day, you're not getting past him. Do you know what I mean? I feel like we got more of those players in our side to have to say on his day. Even if I say Ahmad on his day, Maguire on his day, like that all needs a gel, and that's a lot of hoping going on. But I still think we win. Like I'm hyped for this game, and I got told last stream that this is fake confidence. Fake confidence. Anyone that's been following me for a long time now, especially my start of my YouTube journey, I'm a very rowdy character, right? And I'm very loud, I'm very shameless. But false confidence is probably the only time I've had that is when we faced Liverpool at Anfield. Pretty much recently. Was it recently or maybe even last year? But that's the only time I've given that. I don't know. If you're a United fan, I'm sorry. But I can't be the only one that thinks it's still Spurs, no matter how you look at it. A depleted first team and Spurs. You know, it's a funny old game, yeah, when no one likes Ange. Even rivals know that this guy sucks. And he says, I usually win things. Yeah, usually win things in my second season. But then they change it to always win things in the second season. But they don't even like Ange, right? So how can you trust a man, right? How can you trust a man that no one trusts, not even Spurs fans, to use that as a battering ram to say why Tottenham are going to win? I just don't see it. It doesn't make much sense, you know. We have more firepower. The manager can't afford to sit back. I think we've got more options. I think they got more firing power because really and truly, our firing power is hoping that Mount does what he done again. You know, you remember Mount's already been in finals. You know, he's already won. He got the winning assist for Kai Havertz, if I'm correct, in a Champions League final. And more that, he also won a Europa League, I'm pretty sure, in 2019. Was he not a part of that squad, or was he a part of... He might not have been, you know. Actually, Frank Lampard brought him in. He might have been at Derby, so I don't think he was there at that time. But relying on Mount to get you a goal is a little bit mad, isn't it? We don't really have a lot of options when it comes to goal scoring. That's probably why I think that the manager might put Bruno up front. But we need someone that's going to control a little bit of the game back then. If you've got three defensive midfielders, see, I'm just thinking of it in a tactical point of view, and I don't know if you lot agree, but if you've got three defensive midfielders that are not usually they don't operate in the spaces where Bruno's going to be doing the playmaking. You know, if Bentancur, Basuma, no one's going to really avoid that space. Like, I feel like he will have a lot more room to do what he needs to do. And obviously, if you give Bruno Fernandes space, I think that's a dangerous ploy. Pedro Porro, I can see him pressing and inverting into Bruno, but that might give Dorgu a lot of freedom, aka, you know, whoever he decides upon the left. I wouldn't go with Garnacho, but I would like to think Mount could get in behind and maybe have a decent link up. Manu up front, I'm happy to do that as well. If it means Manu comes off and then Zirkzee comes on, I'm all for it. I think that would be huge. Similar kind of players when it comes to hold up, at least. And, you know, when it comes to skipping a man and at least in front of goal, I kind of trust Kobe as well. All I know about us is when it comes to the big moments in a cup game, one-off game, we show up. That's exactly what I said. But apparently I can't use that as that's an excuse, allegedly, you know. I can't use that for me, but everyone else can use that. Funny, isn't it? You know, I think it's ridiculous that I can't use that as an excuse. But we move, don't we? That's what we all think. But I don't like the fact we're only confident because it's Spurs. We don't even have a confidence in our team. I just want our best players to turn up and we get a win. Exactly. But you know what, Marcus? On the flip side, let's flip what you just said there. You know, we're not confident because it's Spurs. We're only confident because it's Spurs, but we don't have confidence in our team. Trust me when I say this, Spurs fans also don't have trust in their team. It goes hand in hand. They are below us in the table as well. I'm not saying like that means anything. But when it actually comes to Europe, I feel like we've had much better oppositions to face and conquer. We're not only just unbeaten, but we always have a factor where, you know, yeah, we're going to sustain a period where we look awful, but we've always got that period where we can get 2 or 3 goals. Weirdly, it's a weird thing. Big up Ilyas in the building as well. B says, Cass, mate, we got this here. I'll make sure Bruno and Casemiro do that thing. Looking good, mate. Cheers, man. I appreciate you. Brendan, the finals in the last 2 seasons will help us, though. I agree. And a lot of these players are still here from that final still. I feel like they're going to be hungry for this. They know how much it means, but in the same version, Spurs know how much that means as well. And, you know, when it comes to the Champions League, I feel like we're going to be hungry for this. They know how much it means, but in the same version, Spurs know how much that means as well. Cass and Bruno make the difference. I'm confident about a United win. I still want Ruben gone, even if he wins, though. I personally don't want him gone. I just want to see us get a better squad. And that's what makes me move even. Let's just move on from that conversation in terms of Cherki. Again, it comes from the French source, and I think they're called GFN. And they've already said before that United were already in the race. But it comes from another source that's, I'm not too sure if they're part of the GFN or GFFN, I believe it is. I can't remember what it's called. But someone basically, another outlet's kind of confirmed that United have entered this race for Cherki, right? And what's confusing about it is that what other teams are in for him? You know, yeah, I'm confident, Daniel, by the way. I am confident. I promise you I'm confident. The whole thing with Cherki is that I want to know what teams are in for him, right? And he kind of fits our structure in terms of, okay, he's 20 million. You know, I feel like we can rubbish off the Semenyo stuff as well. I think that's done. I think a Boomer might be a stretch too far considering. But we're about to make some money off Alvaro Fernandez. It's kind of already come out, right? That you know, he's going to go to Real Madrid. We don't know what the fee is going to be. They're going to try and negotiate a lower fee than his release clause of 42 million, but it can't be that much less than 42 million. Benfica are not scrubs when it comes to negotiations, so we're going to make something between 16 and 20 million. That basically pays for Cherki on itself. So cool, funds are there. It come out yesterday. Now let's do some more maths. It come out yesterday that United are looking at a right 10, but it might be more dependent on who leaves the club. Okay, Alvaro is about to get some money in. So the money it is there, plus whatever extras are going to go on, right? And then you might need some free space in the squad. But I'm thinking, okay, that sounds great. But to mind, Anthony's going to go anyways. Rashford's going to go. We haven't actually replaced no one that's left or going to leave. I feel like there's someone that you can put into the squad quite easily, no? I feel like there is squad space. Cherki transforms everything. Cunha's already been basically announced that he's going to be going to United. Fee agreed, all this blah, 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 blah. We're going to get this here we go. It sounds like it's going to come maybe today or tomorrow. I reckon that United are going to want it to wait until after the final. I think it just makes sense for PR circumstances. Again, Greenwood, if he leaves, I don't think he's going to leave. So I thought he would leave, but, you know, he's going to stay at Marseille. Cunha's a bad boy signing, yeah, as my man's saying in there, Ilias. But if you're going to go get like a proper striker, I always think, yeah, Mbumo's Premier League proven. I know we're trying to go down that route, right? But you need someone that's going to unlock and have a little bit something special in it. I feel like Cherki's that guy. You know, he's not lightweight kind of attacking mid. He's very strong, and even on the ball, he's very strong. He's a good carrier of the ball, and he's definitely got an eye for goal and an eye for a pass. Imagine having Cunha and now Cherki. Now I'm trying to work out what other teams want him. I know Dortmund want him, but then I'm trying to add the pieces together, and I'm thinking, why would Liverpool want him at the moment? I saw that they were linked with him though. I think he's on their shortlist. So, but Liverpool are chasing Verts. Okay, cool. Man City are now looking at Morgan Gibbs-White as the alternative and looking at Reinders. They're not even looking at Cherki. Cool. I look at Chelsea. I haven't seen one link with Chelsea at the moment, so maybe that's one to watch. I'm not too sure if Maresca would want him. So I can't really count that at the moment. I know Mons wants Cherki. We'll make every single excuse under the sun to make sure that it sounds like he's going to come to Liverpool, right? Which is fair because I think we all do this for our own teams. So I don't understand what other option he's actually got because I don't see Barcelona links. I don't see Real Madrid links. I don't see Atletico Madrid links. I don't see PSG links. I don't see Bayern links. It wouldn't make sense either. They're looking at Verts, Musiala. They got Elise, so we can kind of remove that. So again, didn't Verts say that's just rumors that he said yes. So again, where does he really end up? And I know Spurs want him, but I'm sorry. Even if Spurs got Champions League and we didn't, I'm pretty sure Cherki would choose us over Spurs. We'd definitely give him more of a package as well to deal with. And it's still, look, as much as Spurs are trying to do their thing, it's still Spurs. So again, I honestly think if we're serious for him, we get him. But if it's just an interest thing only, I reckon, you know, Borussia Dortmund are known for good negotiation skills. It broke down last year. But that's what I don't understand. It broke down last year. Where are Dortmund in their league at the moment as well? So Bundesliga. They're not a rubbish team. They end up fourth, so they have Champions League football, so that's confirmed for them as well. Yeah. But he's already said no to them last year. He's going to stay with these lot, and he says he wants to assess his options. So what it kind of tells me, he wants a bigger club. So if you're going to point in all directions in terms of what United need, in terms of budgets, in terms of quality, in terms of the correct positions in the correct mode of, of that 10 that we don't have in the squad at the moment, I feel like I'm not going to lie, it wouldn't make any sense why he wouldn't want to choose and come to Manchester United. I think it fits like a glove. I would love it, and I think I need it. Frankly, I think I deserve it. I must admit, I think I deserve it. But yeah, Dortmund is like a German Lyon. I agree, but Dortmund's definitely they got that bit more of an outfit than Lyon. Lyon are going downhill, but I don't see how if you're going to Dortmund, I don't think you're making a mad step up. I feel like if you're going to really test yourself, you definitely got to Man United, especially with the players that are allegedly coming in, so you can actually produce something towards him in terms of like let's say a presentation. Look, we got Cunha coming in. We still got Bruno Fernandes. Casemiro might just stay, but we're looking to get A, B, and C. We're already in negotiations with A. Then yeah, why would you not want to come and play with these sort of players? That's what my thinking is. Especially if you get Champions League football, then he's like, cool. You're in a competition that you're dying to be in, which is obviously the Champions League because, mate, you're on show. It's time to showcase what you're about. What are your thoughts about Gyokeres, Cass? I've got mixed reservations, Destroyer. I've got mixed reservations. You'd think that Arsenal would move quite quickly for this, right? They got nothing to play for. There's obviously last week I done a couple live shows on it. I done it even yesterday. Spoke small on it, right? What I don't understand is they've already got Zubimendi through the door. Cool. That sounds like it was a deal that was done ages ago. Arsenal are not known to move very quick, so that kind of makes me wonder. Okay, maybe it was a deal that was done in January. There's reports again that Ruben Amorim wants an established striker, and I agree with that more than Delap. But Jason Wilcox is set on his heart is set on Delap, right? Because obviously Premier League proven, probably going to be England's future number one. There's a lot of growth there, as well. There's a lot to mold into, especially going from one season. 12 goals in Ipswich should turn into about 15, probably about 16, 17 goals, and potentially in a better side. That's probably what the thinking is behind that. I hear, you get the English core as well. Makes sense. 30 million is a no-brainer. But what I was reading up last week with Arsenal was that they've already spoken, right? They've already spoken with Gyokeres. Personal terms are not an issue. They've already gone to Sporting and trying to work out how to structure a deal. So, but there's not been mad news or mad, that like it's not accelerated in terms of latest news on if he's going to go to Arsenal or not. I feel like there's a small twist in this that he's waiting to see what Man United's situation is. I'll be honest. Something tells me that he's waiting because what if you really wanted Arsenal? I feel like you'd have done it by now. So if you put again 2 and 2 together, you're seeing if Man United get probably the financial package that they can afford for Gyokeres, and it says, cool, you know what, I'm going to go over there. Maybe we've got people upstairs a lot better than what people think in terms of trying to convince people to come to United. I think he wants Amorim. Right now, I do believe he wants Amorim, if it's possible. But I don't think he wants to come to a place where they're fighting to go into Champions League. I think he wants to stay there and establish himself as that man, which I don't blame him for, by the way. But look, I know I'm a Man United fan as much as the next guy, like you lot. But if I'm Gyokeres and I'm around Gyokeres and I'm his peoples, I'm telling you to go to Arsenal. That's the correct move for him, not Man United. I don't think United's the correct move. But as always, right? Yeah, bidding war potentially. As always, I always think if you're a part of the team that revives Manchester United, rebuilds Manchester United, your name's going to echo in history bigger than Liverpool winning a damn Premier League. How about that? Or anyone else that might win a Premier League. That will go down and that will spark madness. You are goated in Manchester United's eyes. You already know, once we love a player, how much he goes down as a cult hero at Manchester United. When it comes to our fan base, one thing I do like, when it comes to riding out for players, at least, we proper ride out for players, man. And especially if you're loved. But that's always going to be, I think that's the only thing I believe that United can push to convince a player, like, imagine you're the guy that's, the number 9 of Manchester United that's succeeding, scoring all those goals, winning some titles, potentially. It's always going to be a point. So, yeah, I don't know. But that's when it brings on to Liam Delap, See, again, Liam Delap's waiting. And this is funny. And now I'm gonna flip this now. Yeah, I'm gonna flip this. No one knows where Liam Delap's gonna go. It's out of us and Chelsea. I don't know how serious Chelsea are, but when it comes to Liam Delap, it feels like the total opposite, right? It's like for me. Is it just me that makes me think that Liam Delap is assessing his options and he's waiting for Chelsea more than he's waiting for Manchester United? Man United are trying to get in the door as quick as possible, and I understand that and I rate that quite a lot. You just got Cunha done. You're gonna go get Delap done. We already knew this about 2 weeks ago. But I feel like he's waiting for Chelsea. The total opposite. I feel like he's waiting to see where Chelsea are at the end of the season. I feel like Chelsea are going to get Europa League regardless, which is obviously a European competition that he's going to want to play in. He's never been in it, right? But you got to think of the Joe Shields factor, the Cole Palmers who used to be there, Lavia who's in it. It's the same academy. You know, who else is there? You know, you got Jadon Sancho. I don't think they're in the same academy though, but because he's a little bit older. But they're all part of some sort of setup. I don't even think he was a Champions League player yet. He's not established like that. I feel like I'm not joking. I really do think Delap wants Chelsea more than Manchester United. But I'm not going to say no to him. But one thing I don't like about Delap is the same thing I don't like about Hojlund. As much as I take Delap because we're starving. We're absolutely starving, right? At least with that, with him, that I can liken to Hojlund. He's always on the floor. He's always on the floor. I don't like that about him. But I do believe he's got high IQ and he can definitely be coached into stop being on the floor. One thing that we definitely have, though, is that McKenna link. And maybe he wants to come back up north. I could be totally wrong. Again, this is just opinion piece. He could literally be he could be England #1, which I think he's going to be. And he could be, you know, at Manchester United. I think that's the Brexit factor of where he can be. And the thing is, we saw this with Harry Kane quite a long time ago when he was back at Leicester, scoring a few goals. Millwall scoring a few goals. Didn't work out Lyon Orient, though. At one point, do you believe that Liam Delap 12 goals? Well, I think he's got 12 or 14 now. I'm not too sure. Can that turn into 15, 20? Can he be the next Harry Kane? No, but I don't look at him and think, oh, you know what? I don't think you're quite Harry Kane. But we said that ages ago, right? When we didn't want to pay 50 million for Harry Kane. Do you remember that? I think it was Mourinho's first season. And he targeted Harry Kane for 50 million. And all of us were saying, oh, no, he's only done it for a couple seasons. Why would we want him? Funny old game, isn't it? I'm not excited for Delap. But I don't feel like we're in a position where we can really argue that what we get. Sometimes beggars just can't be choosers. Does Delap, Cunha, and Cherki, does that sound like goals to you? See, this is what I'm saying. Like, tomorrow, we're riding a lot for tomorrow, yeah? Cherki, Delap, and Cunha sounds like good football, but it doesn't speak goals to me naturally when I hear, okay, but what about Cunha, Gyokeres, and Cherki? That sounds like another stratosphere. I think it's quite disrespectful to even compare or want Delap over someone like Gyokeres as well. I think it's a mad disrespect for someone that's scored over 124 goals or something like that for Sporting Lisbon in the last 2 seasons or 3 seasons since he's been there. I don't know why no one likes him in particular. Because it's like, oh, but look at Darwin Núñez. You can't use that as a factor. At least with Darwin Núñez, he gets into critical positions, but the only thing he can't do is score because his finishing's bad. Are you telling me that Gyokeres and Darwin Núñez has the same finishing? Not for me personally. What are you saying?
Easy.
Someone's come back with a tan.
What tan?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, in your face.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
We're jet lagging as well, man.
I can hear it. But yeah, people, probably going to talk a lot more of this in depth as well. Make sure you smash the like button. I might be back later, to be fair. I don't know how many people has been in the house. There's 280 of you, right? I do like the lap. He scored 1 out of 3 Ipswich's goals. Give him Cunha, Ahmad, Bruno behind him, and he can become a madman. Yeah, the potential sounds great, but can you hide the full potential? Should be going down the potential route. I think it's a little bit risky, but proven, right? I suppose in a way. I hear what you're saying. Smash the likes. We're on 72 likes. Can we get to 100 likes? There's got to be at least 30 of you in here that haven't smashed the like button. Some of you can't be bothered, but I hear it. Ramos at PSG. He's nothing like Ramos, though, man. Nothing like Ramos. Ramos was nowhere near his level, even in the Portuguese league. Ruben, he knows for his system for years now. Yeah, that's probably one factor. It's risky. It is risky, man. But you know what? We'll wait for more news to come out. Anything that comes out, I'm going to go live straight away. It's nice to see that a lot of you are supporting myself as well. It's actually quite overwhelming at times. But we're gonna go over to Monster Stream. So there's 260 of you in here. I think a lot of you are going for. I think you got sent for an advert. I didn't do nothing, I promise. So that means let's go and raid Monts. Let's go raid Monts. We're gonna go live there straight away, and it's only gonna be a short stream. And I'm pretty sure new news is out that we can talk about that everyone's interested in. So until